We're here with the reigning Big Ten Coach of the Year, David Braun from Northwestern. Very different experience between last year and this year.
For sure.
I just remember watching you up there on stage last year thinking, they should not make this man do this. But you not only dealt with that, but an entire season where, not a lot of known. And then you end up winning 8 games, win a bowl game. How satisfying was that year for you?
Yeah, it was just doing it with great people. I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why I got into this, the reason our family does it, is because the people and the relationships, what that group navigated, what they were able to accomplish, the way we were able to celebrate with a bowl victory with a bunch of those young men, a lot of which were going on to graduate and on to new things, whether it be football or life outside of football. I told someone earlier today that bowl win against Utah, that is a memory I will never forget, standing in that locker room with that group of young men and celebrating an incredible culmination to that season.
And you guys have been through so much, because nobody thought last year would be the way it was. But and also, Kyle Whittingham doesn't lose many bowl games. That was a hell of a performance.
Well, I mean, they're going in that bowl game. It was one of those situations like Utah, what they've established in their sustainability and what Kyle's created. I mean, it's kind of going in that game. You really admire what Utah is and what they've built, and what an incredible challenge for us. That was a neat experience.
So this offseason, you go in, you're given the full-time job. You start to create the staff that maybe would have been your vision. What's it like now that it is your program, and you've gotten to make all those big decisions over the last year?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. I mean, that transition was hard. I mean, the success we experienced last year was a credit to everyone that was involved.
Yeah.
You just realize as a head coach, it's your job to make decisions that you believe are in the best interest of the long-term health of the program. It's been exciting. It's been challenging. New landscape. What's this going to look like? I'm learning a lot about myself. It's been a year first of what this looks like planning long term. I think the ultimate challenge for us right now, Andy, is truly understanding that as much as it's what we've been doing a lot today. We've been talking about the success of last year. Well, what this new group of players, coaches, everybody has to understand is this collection, there may be a lot of guys coming back that were a part of it, but this new collection of people hasn't accomplished it damn thing yet.
Oh yeah.
And
you don't know what chemistry is going to be until you get them out there together. Yeah.
There's got to be a certain hunger and urgency that we move with daily, and just taking it one day at a time. And from what I've seen in terms of our off season and spring, I'm excited about where this group's at.
We ran a story recently on your new OC, and I know you guys are really excited about it. What was it about him that made you say this is who I need?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of factors, but I mean the thing I really challenged Zach on in our conversations were, I don't want to see a playbook or a system. I want you to talk about your vision for creating, utilizing and tapping into your system and your concepts that you've created to be tailored towards the skill sets of the young men on our team that you inherit.
Yeah. Here's what we got.
Yeah.
What can you do with them?
Yeah. Absolutely. I just highly intellectual, super relatable, adaptable, and just has a certain level of understanding the game and leverage and how you can utilize leverage to your advantage as an offense, creative with trade shift motion, and not ego driven. Many times we get tied up in, well, the best defense or the best offense or the most yardage. At the end of the day, it's our job to put our guys in situations to win games.
Yeah.
Zach Lujan's all about finding ways to win games.
Actually, I was having this conversation with Bush Hamden, who's the new OC at Kentucky, the other day. And so he's working for a defensive-minded coach, again, where he'd been with an offensive-minded coach. As a guy who comes from the defensive side of the ball, how do you handle the complementary aspects of how do I practice to make sure the offense gets what it needs, but my defense is also getting what it needs?
Yeah, I think it really comes back to what we just talked about. Being really intentional and doing my best to ensure that we are hiring low ego, high output individuals. Like, how does that happen? As much as you direct as the head coach and you can mandate that, it's a lot easier when you hire an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator that just check their egos at the door and work well with one another in those aspects. already I've seen that between Tim and Zach of like, hey, what do you need to see? What do you need to see? Hey, what can we set up this fall camp to make sure that we get some 2-back looks? Hey, we'd really love to see some tempo out of the offense so we can prepare for some of the tempo operations. And both are just so willing to service one another to, at the end of the day, serve the program, which is critical.
So in terms of, putting your culture in the program in a different place, like you've been to North Dakota State, which obviously great winning program, great tradition, and they know how to win. But is it, these past few months where you finally got to say, okay, here's how I feel like we should run this program?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like last season was just trying to deal with the next week.
No doubt.
When did you get to sit back and say, okay, here's my vision for this thing?
Yeah. I think it's one of those things, being someone, Andy, that, when I'm at my best, I'm taking time for myself and creating some quiet time, staying, I've said it before, staying prayerful.
Yep.
There's moments throughout the season, moments throughout the off season where things just click, where you go, man, I was kind of searching for that, but all of a sudden you take some time to really digest that, write it down. As we move forward, the things that are critical to me, how do we find a way to win a Big Ten championship? The only way we find a way to do that at Northwestern is by out developing people and out teaming people.
Yeah.
Well, we have guys that go on the NFL, first round draft picks, of course, but at the end of the day, the way that we are collectively going to win, we got to out develop, we got to out team. And then, for us, it's looking at everything through a prism of, in this new landscape, what's unique about Northwestern? And there's plenty that's unique about Northwestern, but we need to leverage that uniqueness to our advantage in terms of everything that we do.
Well, I just felt like when Jim Harbaugh and then David Shaw were at Stanford, they did that where they didn't use Stanford's academics as an excuse.
No.
They made it the primary selling point.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, all these great offensive linemen are coming because offensive linemen tend to be smart guys. They're like with the degree, and they're like, wow, okay.
Yep.
But let me ask you this. In this era, how do you out-develop? When the second people realize you've got something good going and that you've got this person kind of ready to go, they're swooping in.
That is a great question. I think on the front end of recruiting and prioritizing high school recruiting, you're making sure that you first identify young men that love football. Passionate. This isn't, as much as I respect the Ivy League and what that conference stands for and the quality football players that come out of the Ivy, at the end of the day, this is the highest level of college football, along with Northwestern academics. You better love football. Step one. Step two is identifying young men and families that truly value a Northwestern degree. As much as we want to talk about NIL and revenue share, one of the greatest selling points we have to retain our student athletes is making sure that they really value what a Northwestern degree will do for the rest of their life.
Because you can show lifetime earnings. Okay.
Absolutely. And then, in terms of the development piece of it, how do we develop and out team? It's by development in transfers. You're going to ebb and flow. It's going to stunt your growth. Creating a system that guys really want to be there for 4 years. They want to fully develop. They want to develop holistically, and then ensuring we got our work cut out for us in this area, but we got people that are hard at work at it, ensuring that our NIL landscape and how we navigate this revenue share and things that are on the horizon, everything is geared towards the retention of our student athletes. So at the end of the day, they earn their Northwestern degree and they play their best college football at Northwestern, not at another institution.
I feel like as the revenue share era starts, it's going to help schools like yours.
I would agree.
Where the gap isn't, so you don't have to go raise it all. Some of it's there.
100%. I'm not going to share strict numbers, but the NIL gap right now between us and others in the Big Ten is incredibly dramatic. That's not to understate the work that True and You has done and others have done to fundraise and people that have supported, but just like I said earlier today, with challenges in this new landscape, there's also opportunity. I'm really excited to go attack those opportunities.
Well, good luck. Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.